My name's Scott Snell. I'm 43 years old. I'm from the USA and I live in New Jersey. My personal best for a backyard race is 75 yards. I've run a total of 7 backyards so far. Those are Run Ragged in Connecticut, that was in 2019. Last Idiot Standing in Pennsylvania, 2019. Keystone Backyard Ultra, that's Pennsylvania. That was in 2021. Backyard Squatch was in New Jersey, 2021. And then I did Capital Backyard Ultra in Virginia, 2022. Bigs last year as a part of Team USA. And then I ran Capital Backyard Ultra again this year, just earlier this year. I first got into running backyards. Well, first I got into ultra running by reading an article about Dean Karnazes, and after reading a few of his books, started running ultras. And after being into ultra marathons for a while, I heard about the backyard race format and wasn't really super interested in trying a backyard right away when I heard about the format. But I think it was somewhere around the time when Guillaume Calmates won Big's Backyard, and he was interviewed on the Billy Yang podcast, and I listened to that interview, and it was after hearing that interview between him and Billy Yang that I started to get more interested in the backyard race format and decided that I wanted to give one a shot. So I ran my first backyard format. It was in 2019 at Run Ragged, which is a little different. It's not the standard backyard format because it's only a 5K course, but a little bit tougher of a course than most other backyards I've run and more elevation change. So it kind of compensates for the shorter distance with difficulty. But after that race, wasn't sure if I liked the backyard race format, but I guess afterwards I decided I liked it because since then I've really focused more and more on just running backyards and less traditional ultra marathons. So I qualified for bigs by I would have, I think my run at bigs last year, 2022, would have been good enough to qualify me for an at-large spot this year. But leading up to the race and since bigs last year, I wasn't sure if the 62 yards I did last year at bigs would be good enough to keep me on the at-large list. So I signed up for Capital Backyard Ultra earlier this year, which is at the end of May, because I figured if I was going to get bumped off the list, Capital Backyard Ultra is probably one of the last races to qualify for bigs in this qualification period, and it's probably one of the more competitive ones leading up to the end of the qualification period. So I figured if I was going to get knocked off the list, it would probably happen at Capital. So I figured if I wanted to protect my at-large spot at bigs, I'd rather be there and be able to fight for that spot than just watch it slip away from home. So I signed up for Capital earlier this year and ran it and ended up running a new PR there, running 75 yards. And at that time, anyone who had over 70 yards could go ahead and register for bigs this year. So that's how I kind of solidified and got my spot secured for bigs this year. The backyard format, what attracts me to it? For me, I think it's the kind of just the uncertainty of it that's involved with the race format, because with every hour on the hour having to be in that corral and complete the loop, it can come down to just any runner having one bad hour and ending their day, which really makes these races unpredictable to predict, unpredictable to guess who's going to do well, and really there can be a lot of surprises and upsets in this backyard format. So they make them really, it makes it for a really exciting format to watch and be a part of. And for me, it's having that 1 hour time constraint. It kind of introduced a whole different aspect of ultra running to me that I really hadn't experienced before the backyard. Because prior to backyards, I mean, there's always cutoffs at races, but I never really felt the pressure of a cutoff during a standard like point to point race. So being in a race where you're always within 1 hour of timing out and DNFing, that would just put a whole different level of pressure and stress in the race, which I hadn't really experienced at other races. And I'd say at my first backyard, I really didn't enjoy it. And but I think over time, I just like kind of came to appreciate the extra pressure that puts on you as a runner, and just the complexity of like time management and managing nutrition and hydration throughout the race with that time constraint. So it's just really there's a lot of complexity. As simple as a race format as it seems, there's a lot of complexity to it to do well and make it all work for days at a time. So do I have a special strategy? I don't really have a special strategy. My basic strategy is to just keep, for this year at Bigs, my basic strategy is to keep showing up in the starting corral every hour on the hour until I'm the only one there. So that's the basic strategy. But otherwise, I made a list of goals for this year at Bigs. So tiered goals, starting with on the bottom is a PR for Bigs, and then going up from there, it's completing 3 nights, hitting a personal record of 75, being in the top 10 runners, still being in the race for a course record, being in the race when the new American record is set, completing 4 nights, making it through the world record, being in the top 5 runners, 5 nights, and then if all goes really well, to be the last one standing there. So if I check all those boxes, I'll be really happy. But that's the I guess if it's a special strategy, that's the strategy. Let's see. How do I feel about coming to Tennessee to compete in the World Championships? It's pretty exciting. It's really kind of intimidating, considering the group of runners that are going to be there. But at the same time, that I'm excited to see how far I can push myself and compete with, basically the best of the best in the backyard world. So really excited to see how it all plays out and see how long I can stay in the race. Also, I'm really looking forward to a lot of the members of Team USA being there and being able to run some miles and some yards with them again. So that's also a big part. My goal for the race, I think my goal is probably the same as the 74 other runners that are going to be there, which is to try to be in that starting corral every hour on the hour for the start and go as far as possible and cover as much distance as possible. But with 75 runners who all have the same goal in mind, and it can only be one runner to be the last one standing, obviously not everyone is going to hit that goal, but it'll be fun to try. How far do I think it can go? I really don't know. It's probably the most talented group of backyard runners that's ever been assembled. So I'd say there's a good chance we're going to see a new world record there. And if it goes that far and there's still a group of runners pushing each other, who knows? Anyone's guess. It could be anyone's guess, and it'd be hard to say that's a bad guess because it could go anywhere from there.